Chapter 1. Understanding the Problem. Recognition. What is the problem? Welcome to the beginning. What's the problem? If we don't know what the problem is, then why would we need a solution? Each one of us will have to answer this question for ourselves. What is the negative pattern that you are up against right now? When it feels like there are several obstacles in your way, please just focus on one primarily for now. Pick the one negative behavior that if you could stop this today, it would make your life a lot better. What is that one area? Let's focus clearly on that, and we can address the others later. Defining addiction. For the purpose of this book, we want to start with an understanding that individuals do not wake up one day and think, I want to be an addict. Addiction is not a choice. Addiction is when an individual gets stuck in a cycle and the ability to stop is lost. It is a relapsing disorder characterized by compulsive use or behavior despite negative consequences. Addiction is a complex and multifaceted condition that affects individuals from all walks of life. Addiction can manifest in various forms, right? Addictions such as substance abuse, behavioral addictions, and process addictions. For example, emotional eating, overconsumption, sexual compulsion, drug use, alcohol abuse, pornography, self-mutilation, and anything that you can picture as compulsive and difficult to stop with willpower alone. Addiction and self-sabotage are complex. They have intricate issues that affect individuals differently. Throughout this text, I will share with you my experience, strength, and hope around overcoming and breaking free of tangled issues. This book is to help you overcome self-destructive patterns and live with emotional sobriety and a lasting sound mind. That said, I encourage you to take what you like and leave the rest. The most important part is to put into practice the things that resonate with you, your journey, and the current phase and process of where you are today on the path of healing. Understanding addiction or self-destructive patterns must start with identifying the problem. The fruit. What is the negative thing that we need to change? If you have a flat tire on your car, you cannot just change any tire. You have to change only the tire that is flat. There's the old adage that says, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And we are applying that here today. If it is broken, we want a solution. We have to identify what is broken first. Then we will unravel the underlying causes behind it so that we can walk out the solution. The cycle of addiction. As we understand addiction, it happens in cycles. Noticeable patterns have been studied and defined in stages. There are 4 stages typical with addiction and relapse: initiation, escalation, maintenance, and relapse. Initiation. This stage marks the beginning of the addiction cycle. It often involves the initial exposure to a substance or behavior that provides pleasure or relief. At this stage, individuals may experiment with drugs, alcohol, or engage in addictive behaviors, finding temporary enjoyment or relief from stress or emotional pain. Escalation. In the escalation stage, the frequency and intensity of substance use or addictive behaviors increase. Tolerance develops, meaning that individuals require larger amounts or more frequent engagement to achieve the same desired effect. This stage is characterized by a loss of control, as individuals find it increasingly difficult to moderate or stop their addictive, self-harming behaviors. Maintenance. During the maintenance stage, addiction becomes deeply ingrained in an individual's life. The pursuit of the addictive substance or behavior becomes a central focus, often at the expense of other important aspects of life, such as relationships, work, or personal well-being. Individuals may experience physical and psychological dependence, experiencing withdrawal symptoms when attempting to quit or reduce their addictive behaviors. Maintenance is when we practice the same ritual or pattern over and over that creates grooves into the reward center of the brain to start and maintain the pattern. Relapse. Relapse refers to a return to addictive behaviors after a period of abstinence or attempts at recovery. It is a common occurrence in the cycle of addiction and can be triggered by various factors, such as stress, emotional turmoil, or exposure to cues associated with the addictive substance or behavior. Relapse does not signify failure, but rather highlights the challenges of breaking free from addiction. It requires help outside of the person struggling to be free. Defining relapse. Relapse is a common challenge faced by individuals on the path to recovery. It is important to recognize that relapse is not a single event, but rather a process that unfolds in stages. By understanding these stages, individuals can develop strategies to prevent and manage relapse effectively. Emotional relapse. The first stage of relapse is often characterized by emotional and mental patterns that set the stage for future relapse. During this stage, individuals may experience increased stress, anxiety, or emotional turmoil. They may neglect self-care, isolate themselves, or engage in negative thinking patterns. It is crucial to recognize and address these emotional triggers to prevent further progression towards relapse. Mental relapse. In the second stage, mental relapse, individuals experience a tug-of-war between the desire to use substances or engage in addictive behaviors and the commitment to recovery. Conflicting thoughts and cravings emerge, with part of the mind longing for the addictive behavior, while another part recognizes the negative consequences. Urges and fantasies about using become more frequent, and individuals may start romanticizing past substance use or addictive behaviors. Physical relapse. The final stage of relapse is physical relapse, where individuals actually engage in addictive behavior or substance use. This stage is often the culmination of the preceding emotional and mental relapse stages. It is important to note that physical relapse does not occur suddenly, but is the result of a process that can be interrupted at any stage. Recognizing the stages of relapse empowers individuals to intervene early and prevent a full-blown relapse. By addressing emotional triggers, developing healthy coping mechanisms, seeking support, and implementing relapse prevention strategies, individuals can navigate the challenges of recovery more effectively. It is crucial to remember that relapse does not signify failure, but rather an opportunity for growth and learning on the journey towards sustained recovery. Okay, we don't need another book on what addiction is. Look at the 12 Steps of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, or visit your local bookstore. This book is about the way out. When you know you want to stop a pattern and cannot, this book gives you a new way to practice life by breaking those addictive patterns and living free of the constant loop of self-sabotage. Let's prepare to dig in. Currently struggling. Much compassion to you if you are currently struggling with chronic relapse and the pain of reaping the consequences of not being able to stop that addictive, self-destructive pattern. Please keep going. Do not give up. As long as you are breathing, there is hope. Try grabbing a journal or a pen and paper to keep track of where you're at on this journey and what tools in this book you can start to implement and practice today. This is where change starts to happen. By now, your primary area of help should be identified and kept in mind as we transition forward in the book. Let's look at it from the perspective of a renovation building project. The transformation process. Like any good renovation project in construction, going back to the foundation is important. When you are going through this process, you may feel like your life is one big construction site, and that is perfectly okay for now. Demolition, overhaul, reconstruction, celebration. Let's close down this chapter with a construction site visual. To see the graphic that goes with this chapter, please visit www.gracerevealedllc.com/book. This visual is of a construction site. There's an excavator and rubble and dirt and rocks and a construction worker, and there's dust in the air. There's a lot of stuff going on. This is Photo 1.0, construction site. Question: what state of construction is your life in? The best type of transformational change is one that happens down at the very foundation. One of the best phrases that you could hear on a construction site is, safety first. We need to feel safe when we are going to change. I give you permission to unravel and let the transformation process take place. The most lasting change from the inside out develops with a process and not just a one-time experience. The best change is gradual, little by little. Final consideration. So I ask you to begin to loosen up your grip of control on what you think your life should look like and let it unravel before you. Building from the bottom makes the best foundation, and that means that we will need the roots to be dug up and a new foundation to be put in place. This will add the best structure for us to build on going forward. Let's begin by identifying the one thing that you are struggling with the most. Write it down and visualize what stage of construction you are in to prepare for a healing transformation from the things that have tried to trip you up. Block away the other distractions or struggles that might be tempting you to steal your focus, and we will start making progress. Chapter 1 Summary. In this chapter, we defined addiction and reviewed the cycle of addiction to better understand relapse. We considered many forms of negative behavior that have become challenging to break with willpower alone. We looked at understanding relapse and saw that it is tricky, complex, and a form of bondage when we lose the ability to choose a better, healthier choice. We understand that we cannot change, even when we want to, without help. The nature of addiction. We also heard there is a way out. See you in the next chapter.